Good morning. So I'm Elise. I'm the dietitian at the hospital. If you don't know, I'm going to inform you, March is National Nutrition Month. So our focus is on nutrition in all forms. The theme this year is My Plate, My Way, and it's trying to encouraging people to find ways to make nutrition part of their everyday that fits in their form. So what I brought for you was some tips on fruits and vegetables. I'm going to go back again because it keeps jumping. How many of you are getting a fruit and vegetable every day? Good. How many of you are getting 2 fruits and vegetables every day?
2 fruits.
Okay, good. Well, what I'm going to talk about here is the importance of the fruit. There's 3 different things that we need to keep in mind. How much? So people talk in portion sizes or you talk in cup sizes. So it's easy to go either way. You've seen the food guide pyramid and you've seen the My Plate. Some of it is in cups, some of it's in portions. So it's important to know which way it goes. And then how much should you have each day? It's different for each person. There's no cookie cutter plan. Then we want to talk about which ones. From a dietitian standpoint, I don't care if they're fresh, frozen, or canned, but there's some benefits of each of those categories. So we'll talk about those. And then we'll talk about why. I mean, yes, I'm supposed to have fruits and vegetables, but really, why? Tell me what is it supposed to do for me? What am I trying to get as the benefits? So the first thing you can see here is these portions. So vegetables, we talk about serving them in about 1 cup raw as our goal. Now, we're going to get to this a little bit later, but how many of you eat vegetables for breakfast?
I do sometimes.
Right. Not our normal though, right? So, as a general rule,
it's
it's...
kind of normal because I work all day.
Okay.
So I have a salad in the morning. Once in
For a
while.
breakfast.
Yeah.
Right. So, as a general rule though, most of us aren't eating our eggs with a salad. Okay? So we're trying to find ways to get those vegetables in, probably with our lunch and our evening meal, right? More realistically. So this is what we would talk about as 1 serving, or about a ½ a cup cooked. So you can easily double that for your meals. So there's the broccoli, green beans, trying to do 1 cup of the vegetables with lunch and your evening meal. Also, V8. So you've heard the health claims about V8 being a juice source. Does anybody enjoy V8 or other tomato juice blends? Yeah, they're a really great option because it is a ½ a cup or a ½ a serving of vegetables. So it's an equivalent to ½ a cup of your green beans. I would say with this though, my caveat with the V8 is try to find the low sodium ones because that's extra salt that you probably don't need in your diet. The vegetables on themselves are great, but the extra salt. If you need a little bit of flavor, buy the low sodium and then put a shot of Tabasco in it so it'll give you that spicy flavor. Oftentimes spice will help us feel like we're getting something salty, but you don't have the sodium component. Serving size of fruit. Okay. So this is a normal serving of an apple. This time of year, is anybody finding apples this size in the grocery store?
Or bigger.
Oh, they're not smaller than this?
No, I've seen bigger ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, huge.
Usually much larger apples this time of year. And it's not that the servings are wrong, it's just we're growing the apple so much bigger that most apples now you're actually getting 2 servings of fruit.
That's okay.
Yeah, you just got to give yourself credit for the 2 servings. Because if you're eating, a large one, you think you're only getting 1, well then you double it, pretty soon you got 4 servings of fruit.
Yeah, I'd hate to have to waste half of it.
Exactly. So,
Then cut it in half
But it
and
gets,
different fruits do better to eat in half portions. Bananas are another good example. If you leave it in the peel, cut it in half and eat half, this is a serving of a banana. Okay, most of them are
huge.
So the baby bananas are an option for about 1 serving, or cut it in half, and then all that starts to go bad is just that edge right there that's exposed. So you can peel it back and just cut off that just 1/4 of an inch, and the rest of the banana keeps very well. With the apples, the same thing I would say about those. If you cut them in half and put just a little bit of lemon juice on a plate, you can put it down into that. Same thing, you're trying to keep the oxygen from getting to it, so that's the trick. That can help you with the portion sizes.
Put them in a sandwich bag, slice them up and put them in a sandwich bag, and I sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon in there.
Perfect.
You can't tell they're brown.
Okay.
And they're really good.
Right, and then you can use it for your afternoon snack to get your other serving of
So it's
fruit.
like apple pie. It's just
Alright.
no sugar, but it's the cinnamon.
Yep.
Mix the apple and the sweet.
Great option. So she's saying sprinkle some cinnamon on it, throw it in a Ziploc bag, and then you almost got like an apple cinnamon apple pie kind of flavor. Yep, great option.
May I say something
Sure.
about fruit? I got a book at home and I should have brought it. But it says to eat your fruit or to leave it alone before you eat your main food.
Okay.
Like let me example. Eat like an apple or any fruit a half hour before you eat your main dish,
Okay.
or your meat, or your potatoes.
Okay.
That's what this book says. I should have brought it.
Well, I can see the pros and the cons of that. What they're trying to do is they're trying to have you fill up the stomach with something high fiber, packed with water and packed with vitamins, so that you're not near as hungry going into the meal. I, on the other hand, like to have my fruit as my dessert. To give me, I'm always at the end of the meal want something just a little sweet. And so for me, that's the trick that works. See, you got a lot of women around you, I'm sorry. They all have a little bit more of a sweet tooth than you. So that's my trick, because I usually use my fruit for a dessert. But that's because that's my craving. That's the way it works for me. So that's the whole point of this National Nutrition Month, is you have to find what works for you. So if having your fruit before the meal helps suppress your appetite, that you don't overdo it maybe on another food category, I could see how that would work for you. You're not going to give me the cookie cutter dietitian plan.
Well,
I'm going to give the modified version for you to figure
the
out.
book says that if you eat fruit after you eat your meal,
Mhm.
it will not, and you're eating meat and potatoes,
Okay.
it will not digest for 6 hours. And before you eat your fruit, before you eat your meal,
Okay.
a half hour before, well, it will digest within that half hour. The fruit will.
Well, our stomach is a big mixing bowl. So we throw it all in there, and it doesn't just say, all right, I'm going to digest the apple now. I'm going to digest the meat now. It's all mixed in there. So
Right.
it's all kind of going to go at about the same time. Some things just get into the bloodstream quicker. Uh-oh. You don't like my mixing bowl? So I'm an advocate for real food and real schedules. So yes, and here's the other part of it. If you believe it's going to work for you, it will. So you got to find a plan that works. Good. Amount per day. Okay, so as a general rule, we're aiming for about 2.5 cups of vegetables a day. So if I slide that to servings, that's 3 to 5 servings. Okay? So you can think of it either way. Remember that half a cup being one of those 3 to 5. Then you've got your fruits. General rule, 2 cups. Well, each piece of fruit is about 1 cup, so it'd be the same as about 2 servings per day.
And you're not counting a potato as a vegetable, right?
I do. It still is. It just happens to be a starchy vegetable. But half a cup of corn, still the same qualities as half a cup of green beans, still vegetables. Yep. Don't try to put vegetables into good or bad categories. They're all good. They all have vitamins, they all have minerals, they all have fiber. So I still think we need to count them as part of our vegetable servings.
And sweet potatoes are better than white.
Okay, so sweet potatoes have a different vitamin compound, and we're going to get to this. I'm going to talk to you about the colors and what they represent, but they're just a different set of vitamins. It's still a starchy vegetable, still half a cup would be a serving. Yeah. Okay. So these are general guidelines, but I want you to know that I've never had a patient come to me and say, you know what, I've got a weight issue, I've been eating too many fruits and vegetables. Never happened. So while I want you to get these are like the minimums. I want you to get at least 2.5 cups of vegetables. You can always have more. So anytime you're looking at your plate and it looks kind of boring, throw more vegetables in there. So this is kind of how it breaks down by gender or age. So we've got the children, ages 2 to 6, women, and then all adults that are more sedentary in life. We would aim for about the 5 servings of fruits and vegetables. So if we go back, you can see that's the bottom end of this spectrum. Okay. So what they're trying to say is this would be equivalent to about 1,600 calories. That's the meal plan that this would look like. Then your older children, teen girls, active women, and most men, you can see it raises by another 2. So all of a sudden we're into the 7. So this would be about 2,200 calories. So we jumped quite a bit here.
Okay, just so on average, where would we be and which women, because we come here and
Yep.
all this work
And all the women they put into that 1,600, that bottom one, all women fall into that category is what they're saying.
Okay.
They're saying that teen girls, because of the nutrients and the changes they're going through in their body, actually need more. So that's the one time that they put them into the greater category. So that would be that probably 15 to 26 range, so about that 10-year span of teen and young women that would fall into that higher calorie level. And then the top one, the teen boys and very active men. All right, first off, I have 2 young boys, so I can't quite get to this, but I can see down the future they are not going to be my biggest vegetable and fruit eaters, right?
I will vouch for that.
They're going to be my meat and milk eaters. So unfortunately, this is the hardest category to get. 9 servings of fruits and vegetables. So combined, 9 servings between the 2. And that's reflective of 2,800 calories. So the calories make sense. I believe that they're going to get that calorie level, but I don't know if they're getting it in their fruits and their vegetables. Okay. So when you're looking at the school lunch program, that's another thing too. Now they're really up in the fruits and the vegetables. So we just got to get those boys to go back for more of the fruits and the vegetables. So while I see the importance, and this sounds realistic, trying to apply this to the real world has some definite barriers. So then we're going to talk about which one. So I mentioned the fresh, the frozen, the canned, being a lot of different variety here. The big thing is we really want to look at what form can benefit you. What's the recipe you're trying to work with and how will it work for you? Notice I said 100% juice. I'm going to stand on a soapbox here because there's a lot of juice blends out there. And everything on the front of that package tells you, well, it sure sounds good for me. It's fortified with vitamins, or, well, it's low sugar, no sugar added. But you got to flip it over. On the top of the nutrition label, it has to say nutrition facts, and then it has to tell you the percent of juice. You got to have the 100% juice. Boy, I keep flipping over these kids' drinks, and I turn over and it says 5% juice. Oh, that makes me so mad. So it needs to be 100% juice, which means they still use juice concentrate, and they can add water to it. That's fine, but it's still 100% juice. So you can still buy, the frozen juices, but it's 100% juice, and then you add the water to it to make it. And that's still 100% juice.
Now, I drink cranberry juice.
Uh-huh.
I add water to my glass with the cranberry juice. Is that okay? So
Absolutely.
straight?
Yeah.
And can I count that as
Yep.
my fruit?
Yep. Cranberry is one of those examples that's really hard to find 100% cranberry juice because it's so tart. We usually do a blend. So and that's fine. You can do cran apple, cran grape. Just make sure the combination together is still 100% juice, not a juice cocktail or Sunny D. It's not juice. It's really not juice. I don't know why Sunny D. Well, it's from the sun, right? Did you have another question?
Yeah. Could you tell me how much sugar 1 gram is? I'm putting you on the spot again.
Well, every gram of sugar is 4 calories, but I'm not sure I understand the question.
Is it a tablespoon of sugar? Is it?
Well, let's take a teaspoon.
Okay, a tablespoon of sugar is 15 grams of carbohydrates.
Okay.
Does that help you?
Yeah.
So then, if I took 15 times 4, every tablespoon is about 60 calories.
So we look at some of this juice and we see how many grams in it
Right,
of sugar it's got in it.
right.
And then we can kind of tell if that's too much for us or the right.
You're mentioning a very good point. So for me, if you've checked and it's 100% juice, I don't worry about the sugar. Okay? Fruit has naturally occurring sugar in it, so it's going to have sugar grams, and that's not a bad thing. That just means it's got natural fruit sugars.
Okay.
So if it says 100% juice, I don't worry about it.
All right.
Okay? The other thing is, if you're looking at the label, it'll say total carbohydrates, and that's everything that can affect your sugars. Not just table sugar, and it's fructose, fruit sugar, milk sugar, lactose, glucose, sucrose, fruit or table sugar. So it gets all the things that have carbohydrates in them, and it adds that sugar into the total for you. We want to look to decrease added sugar in our diet. We don't want to get calories just from sugar like table sugar, because it's just calories but no vitamins or minerals. But when we're talking fruit sugar, there's a whole bunch of vitamins and minerals that come with it. When we're talking milk sugar, there's a whole other group of vitamins and minerals that come with that. So be careful. Sugar-free doesn't necessarily mean carbohydrate-free. So be careful. I'm not a big fan of using the label for sugar. What I typically use is that ingredient list. And if you start to see honey, sugar, high fructose corn syrup, give me some other examples of sugar. Maltodextrose. Yes, if you're starting to see a whole bunch of things that mean sugar, that means they added it to it. Especially when it's in the first couple ingredients. So, kids' cereals, holy mackerel. It'll say whole grain and then it'll say sugar. Okay, so be careful. Good. So the benefits of our fresh, stronger, superior taste. Obviously the texture and color. You know, if you're trying to make a relish tray, it doesn't work very well with a bag of frozen broccoli. Okay. So most nutrients, when they're picked at the height of ripeness. So for example, this time of year, they're picking broccoli down in Mexico somewhere, when it's bright green and ready to go. Probably not, right? They're having to pick it a little bit raw and then ship it here. So it's ripening as it goes. Well, the disadvantage would be it's no longer getting the nutrients from the soil in the ripening. It stopped gathering more vitamins and minerals when they severed it from the ground. So this time of year, our fresh may not have as much vitamins and minerals as it would more of our summer months here. So the disadvantage there, the reaching the full potential, and then if it loses its nutrients as it's traveling as well. The other thing about fresh is it still harbors bacteria. So we still need to rinse, trim, cut. We've heard a lot about the salmonella outbreaks. The outsides of your melons, making sure you scrub those too, because there's the bacteria on the outside. So when you go to cut it, you're cutting that bacteria in. So you just want to wash the outsides of those before. Good water blend, you know, a little good scrub brush can do that for you. So then you're frozen. So this time of year, it's picked at the height of ripeness, but then it's packaged right there. Flash frozen is the term they use. So then when it's shipped here, it's still holding on to all those nutrients. The disadvantage would be is when we go to cook it, we steam it or boil it, we can lose some of those nutrients into the water. So what I often tell people is, number one, try to use as little water as possible. And number two, if there's the potential to use that water in your recipe somehow, that has some vitamins that can add to it. So you can maybe save that half a cup and it can be used for a chicken noodle soup or some other broth-based thing that you're trying to use. Another way to get the vegetables. You could drink it. I see some faces going, I don't think so. Okay.
What if you just kind of stir fry it?
Right.
You don't want to deep fry it or anything, just kind of stir fry it instead of boil it.
Absolutely.
It's a little crunchy still.
And the frozen, it's hard to stir fry frozen.
Right.
You know, it just takes a little bit longer. Fresh works great for the stir fry.
Right.
But the frozen veggies, you got to thaw them a little bit and then add them to the recipe. But yes, that would be another way that you could help decrease the loss of the vitamins, because then it's going to go into things around it. Yep.
Is it true that vegetables and fruit, you cannot gain weight on vegetables and fruit?
That's my belief. Well, I haven't met anyone yet that's overeating fruits and vegetables and that's caused
I mean,
a
it's
problem.
got to be, you can't have any sugar with it. I mean, let's just take an apple, like, cut an apple up and eat an apple like it is. Okay, you cannot get fat on an apple, right?
It's very hard. You know, a whole apple has only 50 calories. So
Okay.
it's very low in calories, very filling, packed with vitamins. So yeah, it's difficult.
But you would get in trouble if, like, you're eating your broccoli with cheese on it, or you're eating your potatoes with lots of butter and sour cream on it.
Correct. It's about what you add to it that adds the calories pretty quickly. Makes it
If you eat vegetables and fruit plain,
okay.
you cannot get fat on plain vegetables and fruit.
I suppose, in theory, you could still eat in abundance fruits and vegetables and still gain weight. Okay? It's not a magic food. It's still calories.
Okay.
I'm just telling you, I haven't met anyone that has that problem yet. Okay? All right, moving on to the can. There are actually some minerals that need the heating process of canning to release their nutrients. Lycopene, which is in our tomatoes and melons, is an example of that. It actually has lycopene that releases when it goes through that canning process of the stewing or cooking of the tomatoes. It also destroys a lot of the bacteria. So our canned goods have already been harvested and created to be low in bacteria. The disadvantage, though, is that oftentimes they have to add water or a saltwater solution to the canning to help it preserve it. And that salt means extra salt that gets passed on to you. So when you go to rinse it, you're rinsing off some of the vitamins with the salt at the same time. So it's a catch-22. Yes, I want you to rinse them and get as much salt off as you can, but unfortunately you do lose some vitamins down the drain.
You really use that much salt though when you rinse it?
I wish I had the numbers with me. I just read an article in, I think it was a Cooking Light magazine actually, and it did that. It said, if you rinse, how much does it preserve? And I think it said 33%. It cut the salt by 33%, which I thought was pretty good because I was thinking of more like 5 or 10.
Best is just to get non-salted.
Yeah, and if you can
But
buy
that's hard to find.
if you can find and buy the unsalted, that would be another option. Or it's usually low or reduced salting.
Because they have soups and stuff.
Yeah, I know. But when you have 10 times the amount of salt you need, and they cut it in half, it's still 5 times what you need.
Right.
I've been going through the low salt thing. and
It's
I'm not-
tough.
If this is not for heart stuff, it's to keep somebody from getting sick.
Yeah.
It is really, really tough when you're trying to keep it really low salt.
Yep. It is. Salt is one of those things that's, one, naturally occurring, and two, it's a preservative. So it's a cheap preservative. So when they're packaging and manufacturing, it's an easy way to put food on the shelves and make it last longer. So, of course, anytime you do things from scratch or from your own, you can control that, and that will help. The importance of color. So our last kind of discussion is color. So the big thing is that what we're trying to promote here is a variety of color. So before you leave, I've got a magnet here that Public Health put together for us, and it talks about the rainbow of colors. And each color represents another vitamin and mineral. So when you're looking at your plate, you really want it to brightly shine at you. If it's looking kind of yellow and bland, you're missing out on some nutrients. So it needs to have, my goal, I tell people when they're starting to work with me, is I say you need to have at least 3 different colors on your plate. So that means you're getting a fruit color and a vegetable color, right? And then of course you've got your breads and your grains. So at least you're getting 3 different colors. So red, when you're looking at things that are naturally red in color, whether it's on the skin or it's on the inside, so strawberries and things like that, the red gives us the clue that it's really one of these cancer-preventing nutrients. So we've got the benefits of trying to maintain your heart health, helps with memory, helps with urinary tract infections, and lowering the cancers. So what are some fruits and vegetables that are red? Beets, strawberries, tomatoes, cranberries, right? So cranberries, urinary tract infection, right? Cherries. Yeah, now these are pretty small because you guys got them all, but there's a lot of different things here. The grape tomatoes, red peppers, rhubarb, radishes. So you can see there's a lot of variety here. So if there's one thing that you don't like, I'm sure you can find red in another category.
Basically, the skin, you can't peel the skin off, that doesn't count. That red potatoes, that's it.
You could put red potatoes in here too. So then your yellow and orange, you can see the heart health again. This is the healthy immune system. So when you think of orange, right, you think yellow orange, you talk about vitamin C. So it helps with the vision as well. Remember you've heard the doctors, carrots, eyes, yep. So, oops, it skipped ahead, didn't it?
Yeah.
So then you've got your apples, apricots, cantaloupe, carrots, lots of different things.
Sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes. Yep. So again, lots of different things to choose from. Our citrus, we really kind of reached our peak. We're kind of on the downward slope of that right now, but it's amazing that God created it like this, that our citrus would be in its peak during our cold and flu season. You know, January, February, March is the peak months for citrus. Eat it. You know, that's what helps you fight those cold and flu symptoms.
How do you feel about grapefruit?
Yeah, I think grapefruit can be part of a diet. Keep in mind, a grapefruit though is 2 servings. So a half would be one of your fruits.
But sometimes your medication doesn't allow you to have grapefruit.
They said that you are taking medications for cholesterol or high blood
High blood
pressure.
pressure.
That if you take either grapefruit juice or grapefruit, at that same time that you take your medication, it increases the potency of
Yep.
that those medicines by 4 times.
And here's what, it's Lipitor that they're typically talking about, okay? And what I tell people is try to separate the two then. So if you take your Lipitor at night, have the grapefruit in the morning, or vice versa, so that they're not right next to each other. Yep,
Yeah.
Yep. yep. And I'll have to check with my pharmacy because we have this discussion every time. Keep in mind, they have to list all the possible things that could go wrong. Okay? So while it's, yes, there's a relationship, is it really the most dangerous thing? Have that discussion with your pharmacist and your doctor.
Is it because of the acid in the grapefruit? Because
No, it actually,
oranges have grape acid too.
no, it's the, and I wish I could, I can see the word, but it's a binding agent that it releases, so it helps with the absorption. And so the two just use the same mechanism in digestion. Because if you think about it, the pill has to go from here to here and then disperse into the blood. And so they use the same dispersion mechanism and they just happen to work that way. Kind of like coumadin and vitamin K. Same thing. The vitamin K naturally is a blood thinner, so you add another medicine that's a blood thinner and we want them to all work together.
What's the golden kiwi? Is that what we have here?
You know,
Or is that different?
no, It
Okay.
isn't, because I think we're gonna get to the green and it's gonna be listed again. So, some of these
There's that
things
one.
we may not see here a lot. But I was in the grocery store the other day and they had some other fruits that I hadn't seen before too. There's
Yeah,
some cool
There's some that
stuff.
look like a little spiny thing. I touched one,
I
but
was,
they're really expensive for just a little
Yep.
tiny thing. I can't remember what they call it.
we bought one of them.
Yeah.
Gross.
There? Okay.
It's just
Yeah,
like-
probably really good one.
Just like other parts of the world, that's a delicacy, right? So then your white, there are actually vitamins in white things. So a lot of times if you think about white, so we're talking onion, garlic, right? So we talk about heart health again and lowering cholesterol, helping with the immune or the cancer producing healthy reduction of, what's that? There we go, includes.
Oh,
Yep.
bananas can be very
How about jicama? Has anybody tried jicama?
ooh, I like it.
Yeah. How would you describe it?
I'm not sure if I can
Kinda like, radish or, mild, beet, not beet, but turnip
Yeah.
type thing.
Yep.
Mhm.
So they're
Not a store flavor.
no,
they're
very
not,
no,
they're very, very mild.
and a lot of moisture in them.
Uh-huh.
So they're really brown, gnarly looking things. Sometimes I get them confused with coconuts because they look
Yeah.
similar, but they're hard. So you got to peel off that skin at the top, and usually I just use a vegetable peeler, and then you can just slice it. You can just eat it raw. I'll put it on a relish tray, or you can put it into a stir fry really easy.
Those daikon radishes, I'm not saying it right, daikon, is
Yeah,
that what they're
mhm.
called?
Yep.
Those are really good, they're mild and.
Yeah,
you
really.
don't like you do carrot.
Yep. So just another thing to incorporate. It's kind of that fresh, this time of year we're so bored with our winter food. So jicama might be something that kind of gets you into that spring and summer mood.
It's okay, decreased.
Green. So we're talking about bone and teeth. Apples, artichokes, asparagus, avocado. So you can see avocado kind of goes both ways. It's a vegetable, but it's also a fat.
Can you eat an avocado raw?
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Yes.
That's what you do.
I had a girl once, she just cut one off the seed out.
Oh, what's a good
I
way?
tried it, I liked that.
I have a lot of people do just like that. They say they get it, cut it in half, they take out the seed. There's a really good sized pit, and then they actually put their tuna salad or chicken salad in the gap.
Oh.
So they're trying to cut back on their carbs, but they're getting a heart healthy fat and their protein together. A lot of restaurants actually are serving that as a fancy meal. Yep. It's very creamy. It could also be a spread. You could put it on your bread in replacement of your mayo or your.
So honey
You know
goes
what guacamole is made out of?
Exactly, that's guacamole. Good. So good. I'm hearing you say that you're mentioning foods that you have in your diet. Then your blue and your purple. So again, we're talking about urinary tract health, memory, healthy aging, lowering the risk of your cancers,
Is that what beets?
blueberries.
Where do beets land?
Blue, purple, I can put those in the beets, or even in the red. Kind of flow into both.
What's eggplant taste like?
Yeah, but it's a little more foamy. I don't know, its texture is a little bit different. I usually bread ours and fry it.
Yeah.
In olive oil.
Yeah, in olive oil in a pan, not in the deep fry.
What do you think about the dried fruits and stuff that you can buy in the pouches and so forth?
Yeah.
Is there a lot of more sugar in that, or?
Well, they sucked out all the water, so they left the vitamins and minerals behind. So when you're looking at portions of that, 1/4 of a cup is actually 2 servings of fruit.
But you have to be careful because a lot of those are sugar coated, like
Great point.
pineapple.
Yeah, be careful, because when they dry it, do they add something to it to kind of give it that crystallized look? But they'd be a great thing that you could add to your oatmeal instead of sugar. Handful of blueberries, dried blueberries thrown in there.
I buy
Dried
fan
apples,
flakes and then just
raisins.
add raisins to it.
Craisins.
Raisins, special
Yep.
K.
Yeah. So I think anytime that you can use fruit for your sweet, it can be beneficial for you. So this didn't come out here as well on here, there's just a little busyness going on, but so we've learned that there's a lot of things that go with our fruits and vegetables. Obviously, a lot of different vitamins, each color representing a vitamin.
Read that.
All fruits and vegetables are a good source of fiber. A lot of them, though, the best fiber is right there in the skin. So you need to try to eat the skin when appropriate. Obviously, I've never had a banana peel, but I bet it's a great source of fiber.
There you go.
Are you getting fiber in a V8?
So, that would be a good point. Anytime that you do it in a juice form, you are losing fiber because they've literally just squeezed out. So you don't get near as much fiber. Orange juice, if you can do the pulp in it, you can get more fiber that way, but it's still comparable that it's not going to have as much fiber as actually eating the orange. So antioxidants and phytochemicals, these are things that help fight the free radicals in our body. So they're trying to absorb those things that are naturally breaking down our body system.
Oh, I'd like to be a free radical.
Yeah.
I can see that.
So cruciferous vegetables are those that are more hardy, so your broccolis, cauliflowers, the cabbages. These things are what really help decrease the cancer producing. So you can see those in lots of different colors too. Okay, great. So this is just the sources. The Dole 5 a day that talks about how to get those in. Better Health Foundation with the My Pyramid. And then also, this is the new version, which I'm hoping that you guys have already seen already, is the My Plate. So it's really, you can see the focus being that half of the plate is filled with your fruits and your vegetables, so that it's visually, every day, you can look at that plate and say, all right, how am I doing at lunch today? Half of it filled with fruits and vegetables, then your proteins and your carbs on the other side. And it kind of gives you some tips here on how to choose My Plate. So choose a plate that works for you. Okay. That's what I brought for you today. The plate, a little handy magnet that can remind you about all the different colors and the fruits and the vegetables, and really make it your own. Okay? What I hope that you're hearing me say is there's not some cookie cutter plan. You've got to find something that works for you, that you can make as a lifestyle change. Not a temporary diet restriction, but eat real food. There's a lot of pills and supplements out there saying, well, they're rich in, insert this. But most of the time, it's a lot more fun to chew our food than swallow it in a pill form.
If they're too big a pill, I have a hard time.
If it's too big a pill, we don't want it anyway.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That's a meal in itself.
Well, thank you guys. I'll be around for more questions, things that you may have to ask me, or a Stump the Dietitian kind of stuff. But I hope that this kind of inspires you moving into the spring months. Hopefully spring's coming soon.
It is.
That can get you some fruits and vegetables. Great. Thanks, guys.
And do you have handouts? Those are handouts for us, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know how many coupons to buy food